The Council of the Galaxy never feared humanity. To them, Earth was a backwater planet populated by a species too divided, too emotional, and too reckless to ever be a threat. When the Council arrived offering protection, they came with gifts of technology and promises of prosperity. Humanity, eager to join the galactic community, signed the treaties without knowing every clause was a chain. Earth was forbidden from constructing warships larger than patrol craft. Colonies were taxed in rare minerals, leaving developing settlements stripped of resources. Alien advisors dictated which technologies humans could research, blocking anything that might lead to weapons parity. Entire industries were repurposed to serve alien needs, building components for ships humanity would never be allowed to crew. The Council called it progress. Humans called it survival. Generations grew up believing that alien guidance was a natural order of things. Young scientists studied only what was permitted, while fleets of alien warships patrolled Earth's skies to ensure compliance. Colonies that refused Council decrees were quietly erased, their names scrubbed from official records. It was a reminder that resistance meant annihilation. The Council's members believed humans would remain obedient forever. Humanity had been useful, compliant, and eager to please. They were an expendable workforce, a convenient resource to be exploited. The alien delegates even debated openly that humans lacked a vision to shape their own destiny. No one challenged them. No one believed humans capable of rising above their assigned station. But beneath the surface of Earth's shining cities and carefully monitored colonies, resentment simmered. Families remembered the factories stripped bare food to produce parts for alien fleets. Colonists spoke in hushed tones of loved ones taken to work camps for violating resource quotas. Whispers traveled through hidden networks, messages carried across systems under the guise of routine communications. Humanity's spirit had not been broken. It had been tempered. Every insult, every stolen resource, every life taken hard in resolve that the Council never thought to measure. While alien overseers laughed at human ineptitude, humans learned. They studied every scrap of alien technology, memorized the weaknesses of every ship design, and quietly documented the flaws of the Council's fleets. The Council had ruled for millennia and had grown complacent. They believed their dominance eternal, their control unshakable. They failed to notice that the species they had chained had begun to look beyond the stars not with hope, but with cold determination. On distant, forgotten colonies, humans in facilities beneath barren landscapes, far from the eyes of alien patrols. They scavenged derelict ships, reverse engineering weapons, and engines the Council swore they would never understand. Humanity was not waiting for permission. It was preparing for the day when the chains would finally break. The Outer Rim colonies became the heart of defiance. Far from the Council's constant surveillance, engineers and scientists worked in secrecy, piecing together ships from scavenged wreckage and stolen components. They stripped mining vessels and converted them into armored carriers, turning civilian craft into weapons the Council would never expect. Research stations hidden under barren moons experimented with propulsion systems banned for humans, using theories alien scientists had dismissed as impractical. The restrictions that were meant to limit humanity's growth instead forced innovation in ways the Council could never predict. Every failure was documented, every lesson shared across encrypted networks, spreading knowledge faster than the Council's bureaucratic eyes could follow. While the aliens laughed at human fragility, humanity adapted to scarcity. With limited resources, every design was brutally efficient. No ornate structures, no wasted space, only weapons that could destroy and ships that could endure. Crews trained in dangerous simulations that pushed human bodies to the limits aliens believed impossible. They learned to pilot ships that overloaded inertial dampeners, to fight in environments that shredded unprepared bodies. What the Council dismissed as recklessness became humanity's greatest strength, a willingness to endure what others would never attempt. In secret, fleets grew, commanded not by politicians but by hardened leaders who had seen generations live and die under alien rule. Stories of oppression fueled their resolve. Colonists remembered when alien tax collectors seized their crops while their families starved. Workers in orbital stations recalled friends taken for questioning after minor infractions, never to return. The pain of subjugation became a unifying force that transcended borders, cultures, and old rivalries. For the first time in history, Humanity acted as one. Leaders of once divided nations and colonies spoke a single message through their hidden channels. Freedom would not be requested. It would be taken. They knew there would be no negotiations, no appeals to alien morality. The Council had built its rule on fear, and only decisive power could break it. The final years of preparation were a blur of frantic construction. Massive shipyards, hidden inside hollowed-out asteroids, produced warships with designs the Council had never seen. Weapons harnessed technologies aliens had banned humans from even studying. Projectile cannons with terrifying destructive force, energy weapons tuned to exploit weaknesses in alien shielding. Humanity's scientists combined alien knowledge with human ingenuity, creating solutions no Council race had ever considered. Each completed warship was a silent promise. Humanity was done obeying. As the last ships powered up in their hidden docks, messages traveled through the network with a single directive: no more waiting. The chains would be shattered, and the galaxy would see what it had created. The first strikes came without warning. Across dozens of star systems, human fleets emerged from hidden slipstream gates that the Council never believed they could build. Alien outposts, once symbols of unshakable power, were obliterated in minutes by weapons that shredded shields and ripped through hulls with brutal precision. Council admirals, accustomed to complacency, scrambled their fleets only to discover that their strategies, unchanged for centuries, were useless against humanity's unpredictable tactics. Human ships moved with reckless coordination, taking risks that no alien commander would dare, trading calculated losses for overwhelming victories. The Council's doctrine of slow, methodical warfare crumbled under the sheer ferocity of an enemy they had dismissed as incapable of such brilliance. Entire fleets burned before the Council understood what had happened. Their weapons, designed to intimidate lesser species, proved inefficient against the brutal efficiency of human engineering. Human rail cannons pierced armor thought impenetrable. Improvised missile systems delivered payloads that bypassed alien countermeasures through sheer unpredictability. The Council's commanders found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn by a species that did not follow the rigid rules of war they had come to expect. Humans overloaded reactors to push ships faster, sacrificed entire squadrons to achieve critical strikes, and adapted in real time in ways alien fleets could not comprehend. The shock rippled through the galaxy as news spread. Earth's fleets were not just surviving, they were winning. The Council, once so confident in their control, lost system after system as humanity dismantled their infrastructure. Colonies that had been forced to serve alien overseers rose in rebellion, joining human forces with whatever weapons they could muster. The Council had believed fear would keep every species obedient, but humanity's audacity became contagious. Worlds long subjugated by the Council began to question their loyalty, watching as a once weak species toppled fleets that had terrorized them for millennia. Every battle revealed the years of planning that had gone unnoticed. Humans struck supply lines, cut communications, and sowed chaos across Council space. Their fleets never lingered, never offered the Council time to regroup. Each victory was swift, merciless, and utterly decisive. In a matter of weeks, the illusion of the Council's supremacy collapsed. For the first time in living memory, the ruling species of the galaxy realized that they were not invincible. Their attempt to retaliate only led to more catastrophic defeats. The species they had once considered tools and servants had become something far more dangerous, a united force determined to reclaim everything that had been stolen from them. The Council's final fleets gathered in desperation, a last attempt to hold the core worlds. Their admirals issued demands for surrender, still clinging to the belief that fear could bring humanity to its knees. But humanity did not come to negotiate. The warships that arrived at the Council's stronghold dwarfed anything the aliens had imagined humans could build. Engines roared with power far beyond approved limits. Weapons bristled on every surface, and every hull bore the marks of human practicality. Designed only for war, not for show. The battle that followed was not a fight, but an execution. Council ships fell one after another, their formations shredded by tactics that defied every prediction. When the last flagship exploded in a silent bloom of fire, the galaxy understood that the age of the Council was over. In the aftermath, fear swept through the former member species. Those who had once enforced humanity's subjugation now sent envoys begging for mercy. They expected retribution, enslavement, and annihilation. But humanity did not build an empire of chains in return. Instead, the fleets dismantled the Council's war machine, tearing down the infrastructure that had kept entire civilizations under control. Colonies were given their freedom. Worlds long stripped of their resources were granted aid to rebuild. For the first time in millennia, power shifted not to another oppressor, but to a species that refused to rule through fear. Humanity became the center of a new order, not because they demanded obedience, but because they had proven that no power was eternal and no chains unbreakable. Leaders of alien species, once arrogant and dismissive, stood before human commanders and bowed their heads. It was not mere defeat that drove them to kneel, it was respect. Humanity had done what no other race dared, uniting not only their own people but inspiring rebellion across the stars. The Council's laws, once etched as unchangeable, were rewritten under human guidance. Cooperation replaced subjugation. Strength no longer meant dominance, but the willingness to defend the freedom of all. In the quiet that followed the war, humanity stood as both conquerors and liberators. The galaxy that had once seen them as expendable now looked to them for leadership, and humanity accepted that role. Not as tyrants, but as proof that the smallest voice, when pushed far enough, could reshape the fate of civilizations. The chains that had bound Earth were gone forever, and the galaxy that once sought to break humanity now stood united under the ideals of the very species it had sought to control. Humanity had risen, not just to fight, but to lead, and the stars would never forget it.